They say that history is the greatest of all teachers, and that tales of past deeds define who we are in the present, and what we shall be in the future. It is said that such tales shall, with each telling, illuminate us all with the light of truth. I shall tell you of such a tale. It is a tale quite familiar to me, for I have spent nearly a lifetime piecing it together and chronicling it here within this book. For years I have pondered its passages, studying every line, committing each word to memory. Perhaps now, in the telling of it, I shall at last find the answers I seek. Our story takes place in the northern region of Faerun, known as Icewind Dale. It is a harsh, frozen land, cut off from the rest of the world by a wall of jagged peaks called the Spine of the World. For centuries, the icy plains of the Dale have been home to the barbarian peoples of the Uthgard and Regedmund. Huddled together in small, closely knit tribes, the barbarians lived simple lives, free, proud, and fiercely independent. Until the day an archmage named Erakan came to Icewind Dale. With an army of mercenaries, Erakan sought to conquer the north and force the fierce barbarians into slavery. Long weeks of battle followed, and the scattered barbarian tribes suffered terrible losses. Defeat seemed inevitable. In their darkest hour, a barbarian shaman named Jared came forth and demanded a council between all the remaining tribes of the north. A respected warrior, Jared persuaded the council to put aside their differences and unite against Erakan. Strengthened by a new sense of purpose, the barbarians rallied behind their new leader. The combined might of the Northmen proved more than a match for Erakan, who had counted on the division of the tribes. Wave after wave of barbarian warriors tore into Erakan's hired army, forcing them on the defensive and ultimately into full retreat. As his army crumbled around him, Erakan had time for one last desperate act before his enemies descended upon him. Drawing upon his remaining power, the archmage breached the planar boundaries, tearing open a portal to the lower planes. The foolish archmage's cries of victory immediately turned to shrieks of terror as the hideous and twisted shapes of demonkind materialized from the portal and poured onto the battlefield. The sudden appearance of the demons drove the combatants, barbarian and mercenary alike, to turn to meet the new threat side by side. The remaining warriors bravely charged the portal to drive the hellspawn back and were slaughtered by the hundreds. As his people fell around him, the barbarian shaman, Jared, looked up from the blood-drenched snow of the battlefield and caught sight of a lone figure high upon a ridge in the distance. Jared immediately recognized this vision as an omen from his god Tempus, and in that instant he knew what had to be done. Shouting cries to his god, he charged through the ranks of the demons and plunged into the portal. As Jared's blood fused with the energies of the portal, an explosion of white light engulfed the battlefield. When the light subsided, the demons were gone, and the portal was closed. In its place hovered a disk of solid stone. Frozen within the center of the disk was Jared's body, locked in his final moment of agony, in his final moment of triumph, for all eternity. But that is not the end of our tale. It is but the beginning. Our tale begins here, in the quiet fishing village of Easthaven, one of the so-called 10 towns of Icewind Dale. The tiny community is hardly a town, but rather a collection of ramshackle huts crowded together upon the icy shores of Lake Dinashir. Here, within a dimly lit tavern, a group of travelers sit huddled around a table, swapping tales and making grand plans for the future, completely unaware of the part they are to play in the events that are about to unfold.
I'd kill for a hot bath right about now. Let's spill some blood.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! When are we gonna do something interesting?
I will prove myself worthy of your faith. Amazing! How life endures even out here.
Ugh, people. I hate people. What do you want?
I'll wash me beard in your blood. Easy as goblin pie. I'll split you in two.
Gods grant me strength. I shall see to it you are buried in honor.
What's this? New face in town, eh? Well met, stranger. The name is Hrothgar, originally of Hillsfar. But now, after years of traveling up, down, and under Faerun, I am content to call this town my home. Who might you be? Well then, welcome to Easthaven. Whatever your business in these parts might be, I would offer you this small piece of advice. While you're in my town, you'd do well to be on your best behavior. These folk are under my protection, and anyone who would seek to do harm to them in any way shall answer to me. That said, I'll let you get back to your cups. I'm sure you've had a long journey, and you'll find there's no better way to shake off the cold of the road than by downing a few mugs of Grisella's best. And if you're in need of lodging, I would recommend talking to Quimby over at the Snowdrift Inn, over on the east side of town. Equipment and supplies can be purchased next door, at Pomab's Emporium. Pomab's prices are a bit high, even for a Kalashite, but you'd be better off well-equipped and short of coin than the other way around. Ill-prepared travelers don't last long in these parts. Once you've had a chance to rest up and get your bearings, come by and see me at my house. It's just a couple doors west of here. There's some business I would discuss with you. Farewell.
Okay.
My pleasure. Done. Yes. My pleasure.
What a beautiful morning.
Yep. Yep.
Hrothgar mentioned there were strangers in town. What is it you want? Yes, I am Everard. Everard of Tempus, battle priest of the Lord of Battles. What brings you here? War is but one of Tempus's aspects. Warriors, true warriors, worship him as well. These eyes have seen battle, yes. And my skin bears the mark of swords and axes. That was long ago. Now my place is here. Because there are many ways one may serve one's god. I am of the Order of the Broken Blade. My duty is to watch this place. Jared was a shaman who lived long ago. He brought unity to the northern tribes and led them to victory against the army of Ericon, at the cost of his life. Once Ericon saw his army routed by Jared and the northern tribes, he sought to bring the Hells to his aid. Ericon opened a gate to the lower plains. I do not believe that. Jared did. It is said that Tempus himself appeared to Jared upon the battlefield, and Jared took that as a sign. Jared believed Tempus was calling him to sacrifice himself for his people to ensure victory. And so he cast his body into the portal, his blood fusing it to stone. It lies entombed beneath the temple to this day. Jared had no need to sacrifice himself. Tempus's appearance was a test of faith, proof Jared's people had already won the field that day. Jared failed his god and died a coward's death. One dies for Tempus with a blade in one's hand, not by martyring oneself within the embrace of infernal magics. Jared's duty was to stand with his comrades, not cast himself to his death when the field was already theirs. Sacrifice? Let me say this of sacrifice, young one, then we shall speak of this no more. Sacrifice is a death that has meaning. When it is in vain, it is not sacrifice. It is a waste. That is the lesson of Jared's stone. I, a great stone disc that holds Jared's corpse for eternity. And so I watch and guard it in Tempus's name. You are free to ask, traveler. I promise no answers. The door leads beneath the temple to the site of Jared's stone. It was sealed with glyphs of Tempus to prevent entry long ago. You are free to ask, traveler. I promise no answers. I have heard of it, yes. A messenger from Kuldahar visited the temple not long ago, and it has spurred Hrothgar to see what is happening in the north. Yes, A man from Kuldahar found his way to our door, and he was dead by morning. He claimed he was a messenger from the Archdruid of Kuldahar. The man spoke of disturbances in Kuldahar. His wounds prevented me from making any sense of his words. Perhaps Hrothgar understood more than I, for he's preparing an expedition. No, for my place is here. Were I invited, I would still not go. My injuries would only slow the expedition.
My pleasure. Right.
Well met, friend, and welcome to my home. Make yourselves comfortable, but try not to break anything. Many of these curiosities that you see lying about have sentimental value. Oh, they're all remembrances of my adventuring days. Little trinkets and the like that I picked up here and there. More keepsakes than valuables, really. Leftovers from my days of fortune and glory. Semi-retired, actually. This region is still untamed and fraught with many dangers. I have had plenty of opportunities in the last few years to take up my sword and shield and do battle with those who threaten the safety of Easthaven and its neighbors. In fact, I am planning such an expedition right now. That is what I wanted to speak to you about. We've received word from Kuldahar, our neighbors to the south, that evil forces are stirring nearby in the spine of the World Mountains. I am organizing and leading a party from Easthaven south to Kuldahar Valley to investigate. You look to be capable enough. Perhaps you'd like to join us. What say you? I don't really know. The messenger wasn't too specific. I suppose if you want more details, you could ask old Everard over at the temple, but time's a-wasting. We need to get this expedition moving before the snows seal off the pass to Kuldahar. So what's it going to be? Are you in or out? Well, as you wish. Can't say I'm not disappointed, though. I took you for the adventuring type. Oh, well. I suppose you'll make great fishermen, seeing as how that's the only safe occupation round these parts. Excellent. Glad to have you on board. I plan to assemble the rest of the expedition and set out for Kuldahar within a few days. With storms brewing in the mountains, I'd rather we depart sooner. But there are matters that require my attention here about town. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe you can help. Pomab, the local shopkeeper, has recently expressed concern over the rapidly thinning stock of his store. He's been complaining that the regular caravan from Caer Dineval is long overdue, and that if they don't arrive soon, he's sure to be out of business. Now, normally I take Pomab's whining with a grain of salt, but with heavy snows on the way, it would be best to make sure that caravan makes it through. I want you to find that caravan. Leave town by way of the South Bridge and scout the hills west of Loch Dinnershire, between Easthaven and Caer Dineval. Caravans always stick close to the shoreline this time of year. Once you find it, see the caravan safely to Easthaven. In the meantime, I'll assemble the rest of the expedition and make the final plans for our journey. Return here as quickly as you can. We must make for Kuldahar Pass while the weather is favorable. Good luck. Safe journey. Oh, good. You've returned. What news of the caravan from Caer Dineval? Make haste. I spotted heavy clouds hanging over the mountains this morning. I suspect snow will fall in the passes earlier than normal this season.
Whatever you say.
Consider it done.
Done.
To
Let's
victory.
go, let's go, let's
Take
go!
that! To battle!
Oh, good, you've returned. What news of the caravan from Caer Dineval? Strange. It is not usual for orcs to be so brazen as to attack caravans so close to town. I wonder if it is the anticipation of the coming winter that is driving their actions, or if it is something more. In any case, at least we can still retrieve the supplies, thanks to you. You've proven yourself to be quite capable. I'm glad you've decided to come along with us to Kuldahar. We still have preparations to make before we can depart for Kuldahar. Take this list of supplies to Pomab's Emporium across town. While you're there, you might outfit yourselves with whatever gear you think you may need. Return here when you are packed and ready to go. Ho there, friend. Everything is nearly in order. We shall be departing for Kuldahar soon. I suggest you get that supply list over to Pomab before he starts whining. Testy little fellow, that one.
Right. I see.
There you are. All is set. The others are assembling as we speak. Are you ready to leave as well?
So it was that the Patchwork Militia set off from East Haven, bound for the troubled village of Kuldahar, with the party of strangers in tow. On they traveled, across the windswept tundra of the Dale, through the foothills of the spine of the world, and upwards on the steep and treacherous trails of the Kuldahar Pass. Eager to seek out the evil that threatened the pass, they did not expect it to find them first. High upon the cliffs of the pass, a band of frost giants had prepared an ambush. Hurling boulders and dislodging massive outcroppings of rock and snow, the giants sparked an avalanche that thundered down the mountainside and crashed down upon the heads of the unsuspecting expedition. Those fortunate enough to survive the avalanche pulled themselves free of the mountain of snow and bodies that now barred the way back to East Haven. Battered and disheartened by the loss of their comrades, the survivors had little choice but to continue on to Kuldahar, alone.
What a beautiful morning.
Very well. My pleasure.
Fighting their way through the goblin-infested valley of the pass, the survivors of the doomed East Haven expedition at last came upon the small hamlet of Kuldahar. Nestled within the roots of a massive oak tree, the tiny cottages were a welcome sight for the weary travelers. As the party approached the town, a warm breeze blew over them, chasing away the chill of the frozen pass, and carrying with it the sweet scent of cooking fires.
Welcome. I've been expecting you for some time now. Yes, well, bad news travels upon swift wings in these mountains. I know about your expedition from East Haven. I know why you are here, for it was I who sent for you. Yes, I am Arundel, known to some as the Archdruid of Kuldahar, though I invite you to dispense with the formalities and just call me Arundel, plain and simple. Titles tend only to serve one's own vanity and aren't really of much use in this small mountain community. Yes, it was I who sent Hallister to East Haven for help. His death weighs heavily upon my conscience, for not only was he a student of mine, but he was also a friend and trusted companion. He will be missed, as will Hrothgar and the other members of your expedition. Let us say I knew of him. Word of his deeds has reached even our small, isolated town. I also know that his death, tragic as it is, was no accident. Someone or something did not want your party to reach Kuldahar alive. There are malevolent forces at work in these mountains. Forces that seek to undermine the delicate balance we druids have struggled to preserve for centuries. Oh, would that I could. The face of the evil remains hidden, but its presence is unmistakable. All about us, there are signs of its damaging influence on the balance. The unnatural weather, the recent rash of abductions, the numerous monster sightings in the pass. These all point towards something sinister. Even the animals sense something is amiss. The balance. It is what the druids of Kuldahar hold sacred and have worked to preserve for generations. It is all around us. It is us. Balance is the harmony that is achieved when man and nature learn to coexist, no longer contending with one another, but coming together as two parts of a whole. Balance is the belief that this town is built upon, the very reason for its existence. Druids of Sylvanus, the Oakfather, have tended this shrine since the beginning. For hundreds of years, we have striven to achieve the ideal balance between man and nature. When settlers finally came to this pass, it was the Archdruid Tolban, my predecessor, who laid the foundation for the relationship that led to the birth of this community. The great oak, the massive tree that stands above us, around us, it is a holy shrine to Sylvanas, for it was he who planted its seed when Faerun was first born. It is a testament to the raw power of nature, a monument to its ability to thrive in the face of adversity. Thanks to Tolban, the great oak we druids called the Kuldahar, and the town that has come to be known by the same name, have together become a monument of even greater significance, a monument to the balance. Tolban was the catalyst for the transformation of the shrine from a sacred grove to a thriving community in which man and nature exist as one. At first, settlers were kept away from this site. The druids of old saw outsiders as an affront to the sanctity of the tree and its sphere of benign influence. They erected thorny brambles to keep intruders out, and used their powers to frighten away the men and women that came to build homes in a place they felt was obviously so close to the gods. It wasn't until the succession of Archdruid Tolban that things changed. Unlike his predecessors, he believed that the settlement of the valley was not only inevitable, but it was actually the will of Sylvanas. He also believed that we had been wrong in keeping the settlers away, and that the Oak Father had intended people to share in the miracle of the Great Oak from the beginning. When Tolban finally became Archdruid, he formed a plan to fulfill the destiny of this sacred site by bringing about a union between the Great Oak Shrine and the settlers. It was this union that the Archdruid Tolban believed would achieve the harmony that we had been striving for generations. The harmony between man and nature. As it stands, Kuldahar is a monument to this vision. The tree and town exist in a natural symbiosis, where it is next to impossible to tell where one leaves off and the other begins. But now, the balance is threatened. I can only tell you of what little I know. Which disturbances would you have me speak of? The weather in these mountains has always been harsh, but never like this. Fierce storms ravage the valley without warning, often lasting for several days at a time, before vanishing as quickly as they come. It is barely midway into leafall, and yet the pass to the south has been snowed in entirely. Weather such as this is most unnatural. Nature presents itself in cycles that are predictable by those who know what to look for. I can only tell you of what little I know. Which disturbances would you have me speak of? Oh, yes. Terrible, terrible. At first, there were tales told by travelers of companions disappearing into the night, snatched up from their bedrolls as they camped along the narrow trail that winds through the pass. We did not think much of these tales, for such occurrences are not unheard of in these mountains. Then one night, Conlan's boy, Sheemish, went missing. The next morning, the whole town searched for the boy, but turned up nothing. He was just gone, vanished, without a trace. The boy was just the first. Several nights later, another disappeared, Megan Potts, the local midwife. Her husband, Khalil, was grief-stricken to the point of madness. With barely a word to anyone, he snatched up his sword and marched off into the darkness after his wife. No one has heard from him since. And now, the abductions are occurring more frequently. Iden, the old innkeeper from the Evening Shade, was taken only 3 days ago. I can only tell you of what little I know. Which disturbances would you have me speak of? As I'm sure you have noticed by now, there seems to be quite a few goblins about. It is not usual to see so many of their kind roaming the mountains so late in the year. It is almost as something has drawn them out of their holes, like carrion birds drawn to the scent of death. As if the goblins weren't enough, several giants have been spotted moving through the pass in groups as large as 10. That many giants traveling together in such numbers indicates they are organized and are acting with a singular purpose. I have watched their activities closely. Their tracks trace a deliberate pattern through the mountains, almost as if they were on patrol. Another thing. While I was out scouting the giants, I discovered other sets of tracks I have never encountered before. What manner of beast made them? I could not say. I fear that if we do not soon discover the source of these disturbances, then all that we have worked for will be destroyed. The evil that has come to these mountains infects this town like a disease. As its people suffer, so does the tree suffer from the sickness that attacks the balance, corrupting it with its very presence. Already, the circle of warmth that radiates from the great oak has begun to recede. We were forced to abandon the outlying farmsteads as a result of the shrine's fading power. If we do not take action soon, I am afraid that the life-giving warmth will cease altogether. Both the great oak and the town, nestled within its roots, will die. This must not happen. We need your help. I understand, but the circumstances leave you little choice but to get involved. I needn't remind you that the avalanche that wiped out your expedition, the one that you were fortunate to survive, has blocked the way back to the 10 towns. As I mentioned before, the pass south has been entirely snowed in. There is no other way out of this valley. Your fate and the fate of Kuldahar are intertwined. You must discover the source of the disturbances and restore the balance, or we shall all perish together. I suggest you begin by investigating the Vale of Shadows. It is a place not far from here. Darkness has always clung to the floor of the small canyon, as if the light of the sun itself were wary of the place. There are a number of ancient crypts hidden within the shadows of the Vale's narrow cliff walls. There have been rumors of the dead awakening and emerging from their dusty tombs to walk once more amongst men. If these rumors are true, then I suspect that whatever is responsible for disturbing their slumber may be behind the other disturbances as well. Go to the Vale of Shadows, learn what you can about the happenings there, then return here and we shall discuss a course of action. Good luck, and farewell.
Easily done.
Please, you must make haste. Time works against us. We must discover the source of this evil before the balance is altered irrevocably.
My pleasure.
I'll take that off your hands.
Yes, my pleasure.
Here we go! My fist, your face!
Right. Yes, whatever you say.
Aye, done.
I'm here. I see.
Ready? Not a problem. Not a problem.
How can I help? Agreed.
Oh good, it's immune to that.
You want me? I see. Yes.
Aye.
How can I help? It shall be done.
Done.
At once.
Whatever you say. Very well.
At last, the mighty adventurer stands before me. To what do I owe this honor? I have been observing your progress since you first stepped foot into my realm. It was only a matter of time before you made your way here. So tell me, why have you come? In life, I was Kreselak, the Black Wolf. In death, I am nothing. A mere shadow, cursed to haunt these halls. Why, indeed? That is a tale long in the telling. Would you hear it? As a young man, I was a conqueror. I ravaged the lands and brought all who opposed me under my rule. I built a kingdom upon the corpses of my enemies, and I reveled in the glories of war. However, in time, my sword grew heavy, my aim less true, and I realized I was growing old. For the first time in my life, I knew fear. Realizing that death would someday claim me, I returned to my homeland. For months, I pondered what course I should pursue in my remaining years. I thought of my kingdom and all that I'd fought to create, but it was meaningless to me. A kingdom lasts a lifetime, but death lasts an eternity. I decided to forsake all that I had wrought in life for a place in the afterlife. I ordered this tomb built in utmost secrecy and squandered the wealth of my kingdom doing so. Upon its completion, I traveled here with my most faithful followers to survey the work. Finding all in order, I slew the workers and buried them in the vale outside. My faithful followers I sacrificed to become the guardians of this tomb. Finally, I sacrificed myself to my God, hoping to stand at his side in the land of the dead. Little did I know that my actions would instead bind me to these halls for eternity. I do not know. I have had centuries to reflect upon my life and my deeds. I can see the wisdom in your words. Perhaps justice is served. If it is evil that you seek, then you need look no further. I stand here before you. However, I am not the one who plagues Kuldahar. For that evil, you must look elsewhere. I care not at all whether you believe me, adventurer. I am centuries dead and bound to these halls for eternity. I care even less for the living or their gathering places. If your Kuldahar is beset by evil, it is not of my doing. Go seek your villain elsewhere. Who indeed? I can answer your question, but I require a boon first. Perform a task for me, and I will answer you. Auril, the ice goddess, is worshipped by some here in the cold north. Auril commands her followers to extinguish all fires, to open structures to the cold winds, and to deny warmth a place to gather. As you can see, my tomb would be an abomination to a follower of Auril. A priestess of Auril has stood at the threshold of my tomb and gazed within. Recently, she attempted entry, but my guardians foiled her. Now that you have slain my guardians, there is nothing to prevent her from returning and carrying out the will of Auril. I do not wish to spend eternity in a cold, lightless hell. Find this Auralite and slay her. Only then will I answer you. Know this, adventurer. Your precious Kuldahar is just as much an abomination to Auril as this tomb. Think of the great tree, the circle of warmth, and the tenets of Auril. How will Kuldahar fare under Auril's cold gaze? Find this Auralite and slay her. Only then will both of us feel safe, and only then will I answer you. Excellent. Be quick about the task, for even now I sense her presence within the veil. Return to me when you have dealt with her. Until then, I have nothing more to say.
Yes. Right.
You have returned. You have performed the task that I set before you? Yes, I no longer sense her presence. You have done well, and I thank you. As a reward, you may take what you find in my sarcophagus. Yes, so I did. The truth of the matter is that I do not know who is responsible. I can only assure you that it is not I, nor is it anyone in this veil. Were it to be otherwise, I would sense it. Promised? I made you no promise, adventurer. As for your answer, knowing where your enemy is not is as vital as knowing where he is. Think upon that. You have done me a great service by removing the threat of the Auralite priestess. For that I am grateful. However, I would ask you to leave me to my rest now. There is nothing else that either of us can do for the other. Farewell.
Oh, you have returned. What news? Does the evil we seek lie within the Veil of Shadows? Then the true source must lie elsewhere. I sense this evil has taken great care to conceal itself from prying eyes. I fear that by the time we discover it, it may be too late. There may be a way to find that which does not wish to be found through magical means. However, to accomplish this, I will need your help. Well, of course you do. I can only show you the path. I would not presume to choose it for you. You can either choose to help me, thereby helping yourself, or you can choose to allow your fate to be determined by forces you do not understand. Then here is what must be done. I need you to find an ancient druidic artifact known as the Heartstone Gem. It is a powerful scrying stone that can be used to divine the location of this evil. Long ago, the Heartstone rested here, within this shrine. The druids of Kuldahar used its power to gain insight on the balance and to look into the affairs of men throughout the realms. Then, one day, an initiate of the shrine stole the Heartstone and fled Kuldahar. The young druid had grown impatient with the humble teachings of his mentor, the archdruid, and hungered for power of his own. He disappeared into the mountains, along with the artifact, and was never heard from again. A few short years after the theft, there were rumors of a strange cult establishing a temple in these mountains. It is conceivable that the rogue druid may have been connected in some way with the emergence of this new cult. If so, then it is possible that the Heartstone Gem may still be found within this temple. The temple is rumored to lie in a canyon far to the east of Kuldahar. I have updated your map to help you find your way. Journey to the temple and discover if the Heartstone is indeed there. If so, return it to Kuldahar, and I shall use its power to find the answers we seek.
Very well. Done. Whatever you say.
You betcha. You betcha.
My pleasure.
have returned. What news? Have you found the Heartstone gem? Oh, this is terrible news. Did you find any clues as to who these mysterious thieves may be, or where they might have taken the gem? The liquid appears to be a form of undiluted snake venom. No doubt this priest of Tolona was carrying it for use as a poison. You did well in bringing this to me. This may be just the clue we needed. You see, once extracted, venom such as this tends to lose its potency rather quickly, usually over the course of a few days. So it follows that this Talonite must have obtained the poison from somewhere within these mountains. There is only one place where poisonous reptiles could thrive in these cold, windswept mountains. Dragon's Eye. It is a vast network of caverns that lead deep into the bowels of a dormant volcano. The entrance is barely a day's journey from here. I suggest you continue the search for the missing Heartstone gem there. I shall mark the location for you on your map. Take care. The caverns of Dragon's Eye are fraught with many perils. Tread lightly, and be wary of the creatures that dwell within its depths.
My pleasure.
After a day's journey through the mountains surrounding Kuldahar, the small band of would-be heroes finally stood before the towering crag of rock that marked the entrance to Dragon's Eye. Somewhere within the depths of the volcanic cavern lay the missing Heartstone gem, and perhaps with it, the answer to who or what was behind the disturbances in Kuldahar.
Very well.
Have we been at this all night?
Right.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Here we go!
Ready for me?
To victory.
Sure thing.
Very well. Yes.
Forward.
Sure thing. My pleasure. Consider it done.
Let's spill some blood.
Let them meet our best!
Sure thing. Sure thing.
You want a taste of this?
Take
I'll
that!
split you in two.
Sidereal translations spell out chaotic events in your future. Beware. The time is now. Turn back to avoid the tidal pull. Dark plants are growing in this garden. It is time for your kind to seek safer pastures.
Done.
Your moon is eclipsed. There are no more shadows. Only a corona that illuminates forgotten promises to the black devotees.
Can do. No problem. Forward!
Very well.
Hi! You betcha. Here we go!
Let's spill some blood.
Sure thing. Okay.
So, it has come to this, has it? I did not expect a group of natives to interfere with my vendetta. Why have you come here killing my minions? They are not snake people, you ignorant pig. They are Yanti, faithful servants and worthy heirs to the kingdom I shall leave behind once my business is finished. Kingdoms need kings. I have no desire to fill that role here. My job is simply to seek out my old enemy and sow maleficent seeds in the soil of this dying world. My vendetta is none of your concern. Your involvement in this matter is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, a mote of dust floating for a moment in a sea of time. Oh my, hundreds of years. You must feel very proud to be able to leap out of the primordial ooze of godly creation, gasp for a moment in the air, and lie on the shore in the belief that you won't die, like all the other fish. All the while, elephants of stone stomp on these celestial shores, and you, in your blindness, take no note. Quite. I am Exonomai. I am a soldier. People on this world are hesitant to attack beings in this form. It causes some sort of emotional pain to do so. That's why I have chosen it. The concepts of male and female, child and adult, are not only absent from my home, but completely irrelevant in warfare. I care not about physical shells. Souls are the meat of my existence. They are the light that filters down to my eyes under a sea of entropy. Indeed. The gem is an item with incredible powers of divination. Only those with special relationships with the natural or supernatural may use it. It gives sight beyond sight, even penetrating physical and magical barriers in its revelations. I am not using it to cover up my affairs. I am using it for personal reasons. You cannot have it. It is mine. When I am finished with it, my faithful servants will have it. If they fail on their plans, simply take it from them. I have little patience when it comes to incompetence. You have just destroyed a good portion of my army and are now demanding that I hand over more resources to you. I believe I will be doing the taking now. Pray that your souls are prepared.
Ow!
No problem.
You want a taste of this?
Thanks, Sylvanus, you have returned. Evil is afoot in Kuldahar. Strange orcs prowl through town, killing our townspeople. I must ask you, have you found the source of evil in Dragon's Eye? Excellent. Thank you for destroying my ancient enemy. I couldn't have planned this better myself. You have been unwitting pawns in the grand scheme of things. You have saved this town from immediate destruction, but it is all for naught. In a few months, Kuldahar will be frozen solid. There's nothing you can do about it. I am sure Exonomai must have explained it to you. She and I have been foes for centuries. Thanks to you, the vendetta has ended. Arundel is bleeding out his life above us. Now I can begin to build my forces in this world without fear. Who am I? I am but a simple priest, spreading the gospel of suffering to the masses. Soon, you will all know the litany of our faith. I'd start praying now if I were you. Farewell.
Onward.
At last. I feared I could not hold any longer. The last of my life has almost left my body, and soon I shall be restored to the balance. A man, but not a man. He wore my skin like a cloak, my face like a mask. He came suddenly in the night and struck me down. Nature itself seemed to recoil from him. Even with the strength of the great oak bolstering me, I was unable to stop him. He touched me once, his hands as blood, and I felt my life begin to drain away. No, only the hope you would return has kept my body alive. You must take the Heartstone gem to the elven fortress of the Severed Hand. The Severed Hand is the prison of Laurel, one of the last of the elven archmages. He is the only one left who can use the Heartstone gem, if he still lives. It is to the south. Nature will guide you. Enough of my power remains that I may do that. And now, I must go. Serve the balance. Protect Kuldahar from this evil.
Right. Right. Yes. My pleasure.
Following the map left for them by the slain archdruid, the party arrived at the towering ruins of the Severed Hand. Guided by the archdruid's cryptic last words, the adventurers prepared to enter the crumbling tower and seek out this mysterious Laurel in the hopes that he might have the power to use the Heartstone gem. For without the vision of the gem, the evil in the past might never be revealed, and the town of Kuldahar would be doomed to a frozen fate.
Whatever you say.
I'll wash me beard in your blood.
You betcha. Consider it done.
To victory.
Forward!
Beard in your blood.
I hope there's something good down here. Can do. Taste my steel!
Are you ready for me?
Sure thing.
Ow.
To battle!
My weapon is
Here
no
we
use!
go.
Can do.
Yes.
Can do.
Done. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Yes. Done.
Consider it done.
You want to
Yep, yep,
taste
yep.
this?
Take him down!
You betcha. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Consider it done.
Yes.
You bet. No problem.
Take that!
Can do. Consider it done.
Right.
Free my people, astrolabe, worlds, twirls. Free my people, astrolabe, worlds, twirls. Greetings, adventurers. pardon me while I gather my thoughts. Who are you, and what has just come to pass? Indeed you have, noble adventurers. It must have taken great courage and strength to make it as far as you did, let alone restore some balance to my thoughts. I am eternally in your debt. But surely you did not come to the hand of the Seldarine on a whim. Tell me what it is you seek. You wish to learn what came to pass within the hand of the Seldarine. Very well. There is much to tell. Shall I start with the time of prosperity, the betrayal, or our darkest hour? In light of the greater threat of the orcish and goblin hordes of the north, we elves allied ourselves with the dwarves. The alliance was a desperate one, but it was either that or fall to the dark hordes. As both races prospered from our mutual cooperation, we furthered our bonds by creating powerful artifacts and weapons. Delicate dwarven craftsmanship, combined with ancient elven magic, yielded items of great power and unsurpassed beauty. With the unity of our two races wielding the magical benefits of our labor, the hordes were easily kept in check. Our cooperation continued, and we prospered in harmony for many decades, until the betrayal. You will need to be patient, as this is a bitter subject for me. A great debate ensued with our dwarven allies regarding the magic items created by our union. It seems the greed inherent in all dwarves could not be contained. They wanted to begin selling our magic items to the other settlements in the north. Preposterous, I told them, to allow others access to these artifacts, all for the sake of profit. I was appalled, but not surprised. Dwarves cannot resist their selfish nature for long. My people and I were adamant that the humans were not to have any access to any magical artifacts. After many months of debate, the dwarves conceded, and we thought the issue done. Then, a day came that marked the fate of both races. Our forces encountered what we thought another typical group of the orc and goblin hordes. What should have been an easy battle turned out to be a hard-fought victory. For they were using artifacts and weapons created by the Alliance. Furious, we questioned the dwarves about this. No elf would ever give our greatest treasures to a hated enemy. The dwarves, of course, denied our accusations. In honor of our alliance through the decades, we extended our trust further and tried to come to some solution. We were fools to believe we could coexist with these rock-eaters. Any and all discussions just turned into open argument and further accusations. Did the dwarves think we'd be stupid enough to assume that the artifacts just magically appeared in the Horde's camps? As to be expected, open conflict broke out. The decades of friendship and prosperity ended that day. The Alliance was no more. On that day, the elves of the Hand of the Seldarine were alone against the dwarves and the goblinoid hordes. You wish to learn what came to pass within the Hand of the Seldarine? Very well. There is much to tell. Shall I start with the time of prosperity, the betrayal, or our darkest hour? Centuries ago, the Hand of the Seldarine waged war with the dark hordes encroaching on the north. This war waged for decades, and towards the end, we found ourselves in a losing position. The tide of war was against us. Our forces were diminishing slowly but surely after every conflict. We were isolated from the rest of the elves south of us. With no support from our brothers and sisters, and impending doom at our doorstep, I became desperate. I concocted a plan to protect my people and buy us some time. Ancient elven magic speaks of a spell used in days of old, named the Mythal. This Mythal embodies the land with a living and protective life force, personifying all that is elven. This living force can also be given abilities of a protective nature, powers that would have kept the Dark Hordes away from the hand of the Seldarine and its surrounding lands. A chance to buy my people time and to marshal reinforcements from our southern brothers and sisters. Some say believing we had the power to bestow such magic was arrogance. Others would say using the mythal in such a way was blasphemous. I stand by my decision. I did what I had to do to save my people. We began the preparations to lay a mythal. In the weeks that came to pass, we fortified what remained of our forces within the hand. My wizards and I locked ourselves within this tower and began the arduous process of laying a mythal. Within this time, the orcs and goblins sensed our weakened state and moved in for the kill. The largest force we had ever seen besieged the hand, and the mythal was not near completion. We knew this was our last stand, and my people knew they had to buy time. For a week, we held the Horde back. Entrenched in our home, my people fought, and the Horde paid dearly for every room of the hand they took. For every elf that fell, the Horde paid tenfold. For all the sacrifices my people made, the last line was breached in a week's time. As the Horde began ascending the towers and the last of the defenders fell, I realized my people's sacrifice was not made in vain. We completed the last incantations for the mythal. The spell was cast, and a shroud of pure light and energy engulfed the hand. As I watched what I thought was our salvation enter every crevice of the hand, I became horrified. Something had gone terribly wrong. The force that was supposed to bring life to the land began to twist and corrupt it. It was draining everything and everyone within the hand of its soul. I watched as every living thing within the hand of the Seldarine had its life drained to the brink of death, driving them mad. Those who died in the battle began to rise as hideous undead. It was at this point where I realized I wasn't the only one watching the rampant destruction of the hand and all within. Standing before me was Labalus Enereth, the elven god of longevity and time. He was angry with me, angry as he saw the most ancient of elven magic used with carelessness, angry as he watched the lives in the land of his people being unnaturally twisted, angry that my pride and arrogance led to the breakdown of the union between the elves and the dwarves. I was transformed into a Baelnorn. My punishment was to watch over the runes of the hand of the Seldarine and its people, cursed forever, until the astrolabe was restored by putting my people to proper rest. You wish to learn what came to pass within the hand of the Seldarine? Very well. There is much to tell. Shall I start with the time of prosperity, the betrayal, or our darkest hour? As simple as that question is, I do not have an answer. Perhaps there are other elves here that need my help to return to Arvindor. Maybe there is something else I need to resolve in order to complete my punishment. You have returned. Very well. As legend states, the Heartstone Gem is an ancient artifact from a time long forgotten. Its most notable owners were the druids of Kuldahar before one within their circle stole the gem. It was thought forever lost, until now. The Heartstone Gem contains powerful scrying abilities that can divine the affairs of people throughout the realms. There are only a few within the land who know how to release its powers. I am one of them. With that said, what is it you seek to learn from the Heartstone Gem? Then you will have what you seek. Hand me the Heartstone Gem.
Freed from the shackles of his tormented mind, the cursed elven lord was at last able to assist the heroes in their quest. Handing over the Heartstone Gem, the party stood back and watched Laro begin his divination. With the artifact raised before him, clutched tightly in his skeletal hands, the undead sorcerer peered intently into the gem as he whispered a series of strange chants and incantations. A spark of light briefly flashed within the gem, as if a ray of sunlight had caught upon its surface. And suddenly, reflected within the mirrored facets of the stone, there appeared an image of a statue. The statue was clearly a monument of sorts, depicting an elf and a dwarf sitting side by side on a dual throne.
Even if Labilus's curse had taken my eyesight, I would still recognize that hole. What you have seen is Dorn's Deep, den of the betrayers. In here is where the wretched dwarves hollowed out their home. Be warned if your journey takes you there. If any of the dwarves remain, expect no quarter, for they will give none. Believe none of their lies, as they will all lead to treachery. If you do decide to venture forth to that dwarven vestige of evil, then I will mark its location on your map. Also, I have the power to take you there if you wish.
The Heartstone's divination had at last revealed the source of the evil in the mountains. Ahead loomed the solitary peak that housed the dwarven stronghold known as Dorn's Deep. With Larrel's warnings of dwarven treachery still ringing in their ears, the heroes readied their weapons and started toward the cave entrance and whatever challenges lay beyond.
Done. Yes.
Yep.
Guys,
Steal!
Here we go!
Let them meet our best! Let them meet our best!
Whatever you say. I see. Done. I see. Done. Right.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yes. Whatever you say. I'm here. My pleasure. You want me? I see. I see. Very well.
Sure thing. Consider it done. Can do. Okay. Sure thing. Okay. You betcha. No problem. You betcha. No problem. Consider it done.
I see.
No problem.
Very well, I see.
Fighting their way through the orogs in the upper chambers, the party descended deeper into the bowels of the dwarven stronghold. Gradually, the hewn passageway transitioned from stone to ice, as if the dwarves had run out of room within the mountain and had expanded their tunnels into the adjoining glacier. Icy blasts of wind whipped through the passage as it wound its way through the glacier and out onto the frozen surface above.
Right. Done. Whatever you say. I see.
No problem.
My pleasure.
Okay.
My pleasure.
No problem.
It shall be done.
I split you in two.
I see. Very well.
Leaving the horrors of the frost giant caves behind them, the party made their way into the deepest tunnels of the dwarven complex. In the distance, a bright red glow emanated from the mouth of a large corridor, indicating that they were not alone in the darkness of Lower Dorn's deep.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Whatever you say.
Oops.
I'll wash me beard in your blood.
You betcha.
Whatever you say. My pleasure. You want a taste of this? Yes.
Consider it done. Yep.
Here we go.
Very well. Done. You want a taste of this?
Sure thing.
To battle!
Watch me go.
Very well.
All right.
My pleasure.
At once.
If you say so.
Can do.
Watch me go.
Very well. Very well. Yes. Right.
Greetings, child of Ilmater. How are you today? I am pleased to hear it. So many young people today suffer needlessly. They live through a dull pain, sublimely drifting under the waves, never understanding the ecstasy that awaits them if they open their hearts to Ilmater. I suppose you're right. The whole mockery of suffering thing only amuses one for so long. It seems that my campaign here has run its course. It was time to move on in any event. After centuries of Ixanamai's laboriously worded speeches and delusions of grandeur, it is a welcome change to hear such succinct threats from an enemy. Thank you for disposing of her, by the way. Her speeches were quite tiresome, and she suffered her defeats so poorly. The only thing really standing in the way of my conquering this territory was Exonomai. When you killed her, you removed the largest obstacle in my campaign. As you probably already know, my arrival in this world was a result of conflict with my ancient adversary. I was exiled from my home plane when my vendetta with Exonomai got, as my superiors said, out of control. As soon as I arrived in this world, I knew that Exonomai would follow. After all, what's a few thousand years and a billion miles between old friends? I sought out a base of operations from which I could start a military force. In the process of doing so, I heard something calling to me from a distant glacier. It was this, Grenshiniban. It's an artifact so old that it makes me seem young. A crystal shard with magical powers of such magnitude that Kuldahar's heartstone gem looks like a child's toy. Just having it in my possession caused the monstrous creatures of this land to leave their ancient homes and seek me out. Its other powers are too numerous to mention. Despite the fact that the shard has a somewhat overbearing personality, our plans seem to coincide. As for my lieutenants, they were easy enough to find. All of them were eager to join my cause, except for poor naive Brother Padium. The guise of an Ilmatarian revered brother was perfect for traveling and gathering information in Icewind Dale. The form was easy enough to assume. The information inside of Padium's head allowed me to flesh out the role. Everything was going well, until that annoying Arundel and your good friend, the late Hrothgar, decided to investigate Exonomai's poorly veiled activities in Dragon's Eye. If that idiot had been a little more clandestine in her business, no one would have suspected. To stall Exonomai and seal off Icewind Dale, I used Grenshiniban to freeze the passes, but not quickly enough to prevent Hrothgar's band from starting their expedition. I had Craig Frostbeard and his giants cause the avalanche that crushed Hrothgar, Acalia, and those other fools. After that, I didn't really care what you were doing, until you seized the Heartstone gem from Exonomai. I thought that Arundel would be the only person capable of using it. When I killed him, I thought the threat was ended. I certainly didn't expect you to take the gem to Laurel in the Severed Hand. Very clever. Unfortunately, your actions since that event have been inconsequential. During your extended bloody trek through Upper Dawns, Worm's Tooth, and Lower Dawns, I was building up forces elsewhere, outside of East Haven to be specific. So you see, the destruction of my forces here simply prevents me from having reserve troops during my conquest of the Dale. It's a good thing you can't see East Haven now. It would probably break you to see how easy it is to crush houses and cause temples to explode. Everything you've done is pointless. I am the beginning and the end of this story. I, and only I, will determine how it plays out. Goodbye.
In the heat of the battle, the twisted priest of Ilmater stumbled, gripping his chest as if mortally stricken. A faint glow began to emanate from the crystal that hung round his neck. Suddenly, The entire cave was engulfed in an explosion of blinding light. When the light finally died, the party discovered that they were no longer within the dark passages of Dorn's Deep. As they struggled to regain their bearings, they realized that they had been returned to the town of Easthaven. But this was not the sleepy fishing village they had left so long ago. Enchantment had fallen over the town, encasing what remained of the shattered homes and buildings in a prison of solid ice. At the center of the destruction, upon the very spot where the Temple of Tempus once stood, rose a massive tower of crystal.
I see. Very well. Very well.
You have returned to Easthaven. I pray you are not too late. Yes, I was brought into the tower by the giants. They sought to break me, force me to break the glyphs. Yes, if they open it, then we are all damned. Pokelin, his armies will number all the souls of hell. All Faerun will be destroyed. Let me show you the sign. The ice gives way beneath a symbol. Crossed hands, blood upon the wrists. With it, you should be able to open the tower. I will follow later, if I can. You have found your way in, I see. I will attempt to open the passageway below to Jared's stone, but these glyphs are born of Tempest himself. It may be beyond my power. If you would help, climb this tower. See if there is another way to Jared's stone.
I see.
I am still trying to force the glyphs. Have you found anything? Keep looking, then. There's nothing you can do to help me here.
Right.
Here we go. No problem. I could do that.
You again. I admire your persistence, but come now. I think it is time you accepted the fact that it is not within your power to stop me. Escape? I assure you, I have no intention of fleeing. I would have finished you back at Dawn's Deep were it not for the fact that Crenshinaban willed it otherwise. I am not interested in your feeble-minded perceptions. The shard is nothing but a tool to me. I have used its power to further my plans and gain advantage where none existed before. I am its master. Please, do not insult me with such transparent lies. Deception is a delicate art form, and should not be practiced by one as clumsy and inexperienced as yourself. Impossible! Crenshinaban serves me. It has obeyed my commands all along, aiding my cause and... I care nothing for ruling this miserable land. The scope of my desire is far beyond your mortal comprehension. I exist solely for the purpose of corrupting the corruptible. To me, this world is nothing but a fertile field, a vast crop of temptable souls. And now, it is harvest time. Consider yourselves fortunate. You alone shall witness this historical moment. Behold! The circle is complete! What was undone so long ago has been done once more. The doors to the lower planes have been thrown wide! And now my brethren are free to plunder this world for its immortal spoils. fools! Soon the ranks of the Blood War army will swell with thousands of fresh souls!
Hold, Pokelin. It will take more than boasting to bring you victory this day. Jared's stone. I have never seen it. The glyphs, they dissolved once I felt Tempest within me, calling me to battle. I know now what I must do. What Jared had to do. The tale of Jared's stone is a lesson in sacrifice. Sacrificing oneself so that others might live. That was Jared's choice. It has taken me a long time, too long, to realize the nobility in such a gesture.
Fools! Do you think you can defeat me so easily? The priest has done nothing but delay the inevitable. I still possess the secrets of unlocking the portal. It is only a matter of time before I open the gate once more. Over? Over? On the contrary, my time has only just begun! Ah!
Beard in your blood.
Defeated at last, the stricken demon fell with a roar that shook the walls of the underground chamber. But the hero's moment of victory was short-lived, for as the form of their vanquished enemy lay broken upon the floor, so too was the power of the shard broken. The companions soon found themselves scrambling to escape as the fortress began to collapse around their ears. No sooner had they emerged from the secret threshold than the entire tower came crashing down, shattering into 1,000,000 pieces. Triumphantly, the party of adventurers stood among the ruins, basking in the glory of final victory. And as the first rays of dawn glittered off the scattered fragments of the crystalline tower, a light snow began to fall over the once again peaceful town of East Haven. And so ends the final chapter in my tale, with the forces of good triumphant over the forces of evil. It wasn't long before the destroyed town of East Haven was rebuilt, and a new temple dedicated to Tempest was erected upon the site of the buried portal. As for the vanquished demon, Belhefet, defeated on the Prime, he was banished back to the depths of hell, where he languished for a period of 100 years, tormented by the memory of his mistakes, and waiting for the day he would return to Faerun and exact his revenge. Ha 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 ha!